Step by Steps of the Stove by Paul Reagan. New design at the end. Tools to make your rocket stove. Gloves are very important. The metal will cut you. Can opener. Tin snips, or actually sheet metal snips are better, especially the ones with a little bit of a curved tip, easier to make the circles that you're going to need to cut. Sharpie marker, again of course your 3 tins, your large number 10 tin, and again these will be cut to stack on the inside so they come almost flush, and then one is used for the chimney connection. Also, you can fill it with vermiculite, as you'll see later, or just dirt and foil. One last thing also, if you don't want to make a large one, you take a green chili salsa can, a large soup can, and a tomato sauce can, and you can make the same thing for backpacking. Started with, take the lid that you cut off from your number 10 can, and you are going to place a tin can on it that you're going to use for your chimney. Place it in the center. Mark it with a Sharpie marker. Okay, you're going to be cutting out that circle. Forgot to tell you that you do need an old chisel so that you can make a line. So make a crisscross in the center, that way, that way, and twist it so that you have a hole in the center. That allows you to get your tin snips in. Remember I said sheet metal cutters with a curve are better, and you just start cutting and turning in a circle. I leave a little bit of an edge because I'm going to show you how to make a flange as you cut, so I do not cut all the way to the edge. Okay, let me show you what I mean. That last picture didn't do very well. Do not cut all the way to the black line on the circle, because you're going to be using that to make a flange. So when you cut here, don't actually cut on the black line that you drew. Okay, when you finish cutting this all the way out, just leave it off to the side. You'll see that you now have the hole almost to the black line, which I know you can't see too well from there. And then you're going to start snipping to the black line. And the more you make, the easier it is going to be to bend. You want small cuts on those flanges, and I'll bring it up close so you can see that. So you cut to the line all the way around, just like that. Okay, so fairly close together. Okay, and you'll see the contrast there. Okay, now you're going to start on the chimney sections. You have 3 cans. One you leave the bottom on. The other 2 you're going to take tops and bottoms off. Okay, so that's just done with the can opener. Okay. Flatten any bad pieces down so that they're not going to be sharp edges and cause a problem for you later. Okay, and the one of them you will slit right up the side. because that's going to have to be crimped together to go inside to give you the height that you need to the top of the can. Okay? Okay, next you're going to start marking your number 10 can. Take your Sharpie marker, take one of your tin cans, as long as it's the same, the one that you're going to slide in. Lay your number 10 can down. You'll see that there's ripples here, and then there's a flat spot at the bottom and a flat spot at the top. Start your hole at the bottom where the flat part ends, right here, and then mark it around your tin can. Okay, so that you have a circle like that. Okay. Take the tin can and do the same on this. Now this again, you can start right there because you'll see they're offset. One's higher, one's lower. This one's going to be off the ground, so there's insulating dirt underneath, or vermiculite. So again, this is a little trickier. Hold it steady as you can, and then mark. And you're okay if you do a circle that's smaller, you can always make it bigger. So I kind of take the pen and I kind of tilt it in a little bit instead of tilting it out. So I just tilt the pin in a bit, and the circle may be smaller, but we can always cut more. Okay. The tricky part will be getting the holes started. Next, you're going to need to cut out the circles, and the best way to do that is to start in the center. I use a hacksaw, small hacksaw. If you have a Dremel that cuts metal, you can do that too. Basically, you're going to rest it against your leg, and then just very softly just keep sawing. Nice and easy until it goes through the center. And then take your chisel again, and again do everything this way. Don't do anything this way, so dangerous against your leg if you slip. Slide it in there just a bit, twist it so that you have a hole large enough to put your cutters in. Again, do the same thing here. Lay it sideways. Saw in the center of your circle. Take and try to ply it open so that you can get to the center with your cutters. Again, start cutting, going in that circular motion, and again, leave some distance. And cut all the way around. Although on this one, I think I'm going to cut all the way on the line and check it as I get to it, because I don't need a flange here. I can use a flange from my chimney going in. I'll show you that. So anyway, mark it, repeat, hacksaw, twist it open, start your cutting, and cut all the way around. Okay, I want to show you up close what the design looks like once your holes are cut and it's in, and I'll show you how to make this happen. But it looked like my holes that I cut were right on the size that I needed. The one can was pushed sideways. The other can, as you can see on the inside, is pushed into the center chimney, and then this whole unit slides inside or closer to get it back in the center, so that this is in the center of your can. And again, I'll show you how that's put together in just a minute. That's what it looks like. Okay, before you put your two tin cans together like this, it is important that you flange these, and I usually just cut about 1 inch, because in order for the top chimney to go in here, this has to be flat on the inside of the chimney. Okay, so you just get it ready, go back and cut some small ones. Again, the smaller the easier it is to flange, the flatter it'll be. Okay, now you're going to get ready to put things together. Take those flanges and just squeeze them in just a bit. Okay. Take it to your tin can, and again, twisting motion is easy. Push it in. just like that. Make sure they're all in how you want them. Okay, we may need to go cut the top a little bit, but we may be able to do that after the fact if it's not quite long enough, but we'll check and see. Okay, let me just do that right now. So we're making the top ones just a little longer. We won't have to do that to the bottom ones because our chimney will not slide in there too bad. Okay, now that you've got it on the inside, you'll just pull it through. So it's about in the center. And then push all those flanges down and out of your way. Okay. May need to stick a tool inside there to get those flanges flat. Okay. So basically you need this in the center. And this is flat against here as possible. That'll take some maneuvering to do. Okay, now you're going to take your lid and you're going to get it into this, the chimney into the lid. Go from the side that has the flanges, the top part. Twist it tight, slide it in. Even it out as best you can. Okay, and then you will be putting it in to here. But first we're going to show you that before you put that on, you're going to fill this up with foil. This helps keep the heat dissipated on the inside. You can use vermiculite as well. But I'm just using foil because it'll be lighter and no dirt getting into my stove if I have to take it apart for whatever reason. Okay, I want to show you now that I filled it up with foil. Pretty much just balls of foil, like this. Okay, also made some snakes and wrapped them around. Like that. Get it to just above that tin can. Then next, you're going to take your lid that you put together. Make sure you can see all this. Okay. And this is going to slide right into there. Okay. You don't want it to go down too far that it blocks your chimney, which it did, so we're going to have to change that just a bit. I was wondering about that. Okay, so you might as well just watch me make the change. This is too long. If I put it in here, it goes and it blocks this chimney. So I'm going to take the snippers and I'm going to cut off about 3 higher than that rim. Okay, so you can see I've cut off that section right there. So we'll try that again, go back to that previous step. It's going to get flanged here, go through the top of this, even it out if you can, and then that's going to slide right into that tin can there. even it out. Press that down. Ouch. Okay. So that there is in. Again, I would even these out a bit and get that level. That blocks it just a bit. I may need to make a little bit more of a change to that, but that's the basic stove. The only thing left to do now is to build a shelf, and I'll show you a shelf that goes in there so your wood sits on top, the air goes through it, fairly lightweight, and then another section we'll talk about how to light. The next thing you need is the top of your stove has to be able to hold pots and pans and have air. So you take your snippers and you'll cut down to where that is. I'm going to go about 2 inches, and then you'll fold that inward just like that, and you'll do that on all the sides, or you'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, holds it down and gives you a place to put your pots and has air flow through. So fairly large is probably better. The more air it can channel up as it goes through. Okay. And feeds the fire. Top section is now bent down. I also crimped these in a bit just so that these pointed edges weren't going to be too accessible on the outside. I rub my hand and I don't hit the sharp edges because those are sharp. You could bend them in again and make a little lip, I suppose, if you needed to. And I may do that later. Okay, so that's the basic design as you look through there. Okay, you can see some metal flanges that I can still bend out of the way. This is the top, and we'll show you how it works. Okay, second design of rocket stove. You'll see here that it's made out of 3 cans only. Number 10, a number 10 can. I'm not sure this size, but it may be a size 8. And then a regular soup can. Chimney here is the soup can. Inside can is the number 8 or the large bean can. And then the number 10 can. Differences on this one is that this can be pushed in for storage, and it holds in place the sterno, which means now you can use this stove inside your home. Also a change in design. These are drilled out holes. There's a special drill bit that looks like a Christmas tree, I call it. It's bigger and bigger as you get closer to the end, and so you tap a hole and then you drill that for air, and it works well. Another change design is this lid here is held in place by having 4 of them underneath. Push down, push the metal up, it hits these that are folded back, and again goes in, and there's foil and dirt at the bottom again. Dirt at the bottom, and then foil around the outside. And it cooked cocoa. Took about 30 minutes for it to boil. It was a half a sterno, and sterno needs to be stirred before you light it to make it the most productive.